righty, hello everyone. Thank you so much, Miss Maureen, for that lovely introduction. Thank you all so much for being here. I know life can get crazy and hectic, so we really appreciate you all taking time out of your day to join us here tonight. And most especially, thank you, Jeff, for being here and sharing your wisdom and knowledge with all of us. We're really excited to take an inside look into what it's like being the production manager at Arena, but also just what it's like being Jeff.
Yeah. I love it. I just want to make sure y'all are awake out there.
Yes.
Y'all aren't awake.
Let's try one more time. Y'all awake?
All right. What's up? I'm gonna work that hard. Yeah.
All right, to get us started, tell us where it all began for you. What was little baby Jeff?
Oh Lord, little baby Jeff. So I'm local to DC. This is a really great opportunity. I thought I heard smoke. I guess I'll hype myself up.
Yeah.
I'm a local to Washington DC, so it's been a full circle moment for me. I have had a love for the arts ever since I was in my youth, and have had many opportunities to gather experience in college and do workforce development across the country, and it just led me back here to the DC area, right back at home here.
Oh, wow. So you said you've had the opportunity to kind of, grow your knowledge and gain more experience throughout the through the arts all across the country. So what was your favorite place?
Oh my goodness. Ooh, that's a tough one. I got to live in California, and if you get a chance, it's beautiful. What's crazy is the older I get, the more like fiscally responsible you are.
Yeah.
In your 20s, you really don't understand that, but I had some of the best experiences being a broke college graduate living on the West Coast.
Yeah. Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
All right, so to kind of get us started into where you're at now, what was like the journey of becoming a theater production manager at Arena?
Yeah, the journey, as I said, I grew up loving the arts. I won't say everyone, but I had the theater bug. I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be an actor. All the way up until I got to college, I studied acting, and I had understood some of the tech side. I went to this lovely work-study college in Kentucky, where everyone that was admitted to that college had a work-study job, so I got to work in the theater. But because I was an actor, and I am one of many, a lot of the roles I did in college, I died in. And so I have a lot of experience dying to my resume. It really much was like, I see this is not the future I want to go into, so I went to the tech side.
Yeah.
The tech side is very tactical, it's very hands-on, and it led me into props. I grew up learning props, letting that be my job, letting that be my trade, going to grad school for that, and props people interact with production managers all the time. As a props person, we're always asking for more time, more money. A great production manager's like, we don't have time, we don't have money, figure it out. And I was like, well, I can be that. I can be that person of saying, hey, I want to help you understand what our means are.
Yeah.
And I got an opportunity to step into production management, and it's just been a joy since then.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about what it was like working in props, and kind of like what was that transition like as well from props to production?
Very much. I tip my hat to a bunch of props people because they very much are a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
So you have to understand all of the technical skills of building something from a picture, building something from someone's imagination. And it's not just that. Props folks, they deal with electricity, they deal with sound, they deal with fire, they deal with special effects, they deal with costuming. So it really is a jack of all trades sort of craft. My introduction to that wasn't that. It was not very much, I'm going to build anything. It's very much, I'm going to find, I'm going to buy everything, which led to that greater conversation of, let's help you understand what a budget is.
Yeah. Wow, and so would you say having that experience in props made that transition to a production manager pretty smooth?
Very much. I think every production manager has to have an understanding of what it's like to work on the technical side. Because you want those people to relate to you.
Yeah.
And they're only going to relate to you when you understand them. So I've had a ton of production managers that have been technical directors, that have been stage managers. A lot of them have been on the tech side or understood what the tech side is to really help shepherd the process.
Wow, okay, I love that. So what is something that you wish more people knew about like the behind the scenes or kind of technical side of theater?
I wish more people really understood the challenge of trying to take something from your imagination to a reality. It's
Yes.
very involved. It is not something that is on a shelf somewhere. It's something that you really have to engineer and really design and execute. It's an amazing process to see.
So would you say, because I know me, sometimes like when I describe stuff, I'll just go on and on and on, and I kind of like the thoughts are everywhere. So would you say, specifically being in props or any kind of just like technical side of theater, it's easier to kind of follow along where someone is going when you kind of know them beforehand?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, if you're involved in the process,
Yeah.
you have an understanding of what someone is trying to ideate, of like what their vision is. And I think that's what's so great about the technical process. It is so collaborative. Everybody wants to do their best work. They want to understand the best means, because at the end of the day, we want our lovely performers to feel comfortable in the work that we're doing, but also we want us to feel comfortable in the work that's on stage. Yeah.
Okay, so as a production manager, what would you say are your favorite moments that you get to experience?
Oh man, I am. If I can meet every deadline, if I can get to a show to open and it's a joyful process, that is a big beat for me. But as an artist, there is something so satisfactory about the audience getting the magic. So when you know what's going to happen, but they don't, and you see their response.
Oh yes.
Like, we did it, y'all. We did it. We did good.
Yes. Oh wow, I love that. So, are there any projects that you've either worked on in the past, are currently working on right now, or plan to work on, or create in the future that you're proud of or excited about?
Yeah, and I'll speak to one of my favorite props projects I did in grad school. I went to grad school in Ohio, and we did the show Shakespeare's As You Like It. And it was set in the forest. The scenic designer was also the head of the scenic design professor at the college, and he wanted a 10-foot root ball chandelier. Like literally, can you imagine how to get something that rose outside in the ground inside a building at that size? So it was an amazing project of like you really had to understand what tools, what materials you need to recreate this thing, and it was super interdepartmental. It had every department outside of props really involved in it to get that work done. So really amazing.
So would you say like kind of like the behind the scenes or technical side, like each department works really closely together on every project?
That is 100%.
Yeah, like what is that like? Is it kind of like, I don't know, just so many cooks in the kitchen, or like what's that kind of like?
Yeah, I mean it's always that, because everyone has an idea of what it means to do something. But as a production manager, my job is to be head chef. Like that's great, that's cool. You're gonna be the sous chef today, you're gonna do prep today, you're gonna do this. And if everyone is communicating, it's really the process of who's on first, who's on second, and who has the final. So this is going to get my sample of approval before it goes off.
Yes. So would you say a big part of being a production manager is like multitasking? And was this like your first kind of experience, not multitasking, but like, what would you say kind of prepped you for the multitasking part of being a production manager?
Yeah. I mean, so I think there's a great correlation between props people and production managers. As a props person, you have multiple projects that you have to oversee, that you have to shepherd. On a smaller scale, production management is all people. So you have a lot more people that you're responsible for, that has agency, that has thoughts, that has feels about something in a process. And your job is to help understand what their need is and help achieve that. A great example I gave you last week is we currently are about to go into tech for a period jazz show, and our lovely design team wanted a period drum set. It was rather challenging with my sound department saying, we're not going to get something here in time for tech or for our band load in. My job is to say that is true to one degree, but because I am overseeing all of the production, that then lives on my shoulders to figure out how do we execute this so that we can get something in time.
Yes, wow. Did y'all have fun?
We sure did. We arrived today.
Today? Oh, yes.
Production managed, I say.
Thank you, yes! And you'll be here in time for tech?
My job's done.
You ate that, yes! So tell me about that project. What is that like? What's that experience been like? How's it going?
It's good. It's very, very, very good. This is, if anyone, Arena is such a like mecca of arts excellence in the DC area, and I've been there since July 1st, and I just mostly have been witnessing the creatives in the room make the magic. My job is to help supplement of getting us to that, but it's a dedicated group of people that, like, have you heard of the song Flight of the Bumblebee? Okay, it's a classical song about rapid beat movement. That is very much what arena is. There's a bunch of bumblebees always running, always doing something. There's something always happening in that movie. Yeah.
So how would you describe arena stage for someone that's never been?
Massive.
Yes.
Massive. It's a large art center with 3 spaces. We use 2 for our main stage productions, and we have 1 that we commit for rentals and events and other DC partners to use our space. But because it's production, there's always something for us to work on. Yeah.
So going back to kind of what you said before about how you've had this experience all over the world, and just in so many different places, working at arena stage, like what's something that stands out that goes on at arena stage that has never happened before?
That is a great question. What's something that happens at arena stage that I haven't heard? I think it's the culture. Like every theater, every institution has the understanding of what their cultural and what their footprint is.
Yeah.
Arena has a reputation of giving the audiences, giving the buyers what they want. So, and not just on stage, but you'll see it in costumes, you'll see it in props, you'll see it in the sets they create. There's so much magic to their culture of them feeling as if their art is reflected in the product they're putting on stage. That is the theme of all that staff there. They strive for that.
Is that ever kind of difficult to manage as a production manager?
100%, because I'm working with 150 artists, and they're their toughest
Oh,
critic.
yes, really. Wow. So kind of like going back to what you said about people there always like want to give the audience what they want. How do you tell them sometimes this isn't going to work?
I'm really good at saying no.
Oh.
It's a real challenge of mine, because I have to say no. I have to be the guy to say no.
Yes.
And it's we can always try something, but we always know that in reality, there's only enough time, there's only enough budget. There's a lot. I'm a big advocate for how can we simplify something and still be crucial to the storytelling. And I think every producer, every stage manager, every artist, that is how they want to work. They want to work. No one wants to complicate things for anyone. They just want to tell the best story they can.
Oh, I love that. Alrighty, so this is a good question, I think.
Okay.
So I was talking about this last week. It's actually been brought up so many times in my life. There's like this weird, indescribable feeling that I feel like a lot of people feel when they're like a young adult, so like that late teen to early 20s, of kind of not knowing who they are or what they want to do or what is going on in life. So what would you say, what kind of advice or guidance would you give to anyone that's struggling on that right now, and kind of like how did you realize this path of being a production manager at Arena? How did you know this was the right path to take?
Excellent question. I think if anyone in their 20s that's doing that, send them my way, because when I was 20s, I was like, I got to focus on today. Tomorrow is another problem. But I think it's just that. It's you really want to set yourself up for success. So you want to align yourself with opportunities that you foresee will be beneficial to you wherever you are in your career. For me, I grew up in a educational, militaristic leadership household. So that I've always had that model. I've always seen myself in that model. And on the technical side, a lot of technicians don't want to be on stage. They don't want to be on stage, but they also don't want the attention on them. They want someone to speak on their behalf, to have those hard conversations. And I am a communicator. I have no problem understanding what someone needs relayed and advocating on their behalf.
Wow. So would you say being a production manager kind of made you realize that part of yourself, or you've always been like that?
I think I've always been like that. I think as a production manager, I see it and I live it more and understand it. Of like, oh, this is clear. Oh, this makes sense as to why.
Yes. Okay, so going back to what you said about when you started working at Arena, you said you started July 1st.
Yes.
So far, what has been your favorite production that you've worked on at Arena?
That's a good one. This is recorded, right? Yes. Okay. I love them all. My first introduction to Arena, because oddly enough, having grown up in DC, I had never stepped foot at Arena. And I think there's a whole nother soapbox I'll get on about that. But my introduction to the caliber of work Arena produces was their season opening of Damn Yankees. It was a commercial hit in the DC area, so it made me feel like, yes, yeah, okay, this is how we're running. Yes, let's do just that.
Yes.
So, just amazing for the quality of performers, the work, everything was just yes. Chef's kiss.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that. So, what would you say was the hardest one to work on?
I plead the fifth.
Okay.
I mean the process of working on productions are all a challenge.
Yeah.
It's understanding that they're going to be a challenge, but how do you rise to the occasion? Like the challenge of getting a drum set in the 11th hour.
Exactly, you did it.
And boom. And
You
we
did
did
it?
it. And we did it.
Yes.
So,
Wow. Oh, I love that so much. I know before you kind of were talking about, what is the name? The one you're working on right now.
yeah. Shay Joey.
Shay Joey. Yes. So I know you said tech is starting next week.
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday.
Yeah.
What are y'all doing Saturday?
Snowpocalypse Tech Day 1.
Oh, for real.
Yeah.
Ooh. So when's the first show kind of go on? When does it open?
It opens February 13th. Don't quote me yet. Yeah.
Mark your calendars for February.
Mark your calendars.
Yes.
There will be an email. Come check us out.
Alrighty, so kind of my last question of tonight is, are there any future projects that you're working on and kind of like what's next for you?
Yeah, future projects I'm working on. I serve on the board of USITT, which is the United States Institute for Theater Technology. It is a technical theater, think of like Comic-Con, but for technical theater folks. And this year it is in Long Beach, California in March. And so I serve on their Gateway program, which is very much mission aligned with what this entity is right now, where we go and find early career technical theater students and shepherd them through the process of this national conference to help them understand networking, understanding how to get opportunities, making them feel more comfortable in like who they are, what they show.
Wow, I love that so
Thank you.
much. Well, all right, that ends our time with me and you, Jeff. But now it's open to the audience. Do you all have any questions? We have our two lovely helpers here, Ruth and Asme. They'll be going around with mics. So you all have any questions?
But first,
Yeah.
give yourself a round of applause.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
I'd like you to get on your soapbox about why you never came to Arena when
I
you were
love
growing
that
up in
question.
DC.
This is not scripted. I did not ask her to ask this question. I'm just saying. So I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I'm going to throw the word gentrified around. D.C. looked a lot different than when I was here 30 years ago. And there weren't as many opportunities for having a person of color step into technical theater. It was very much, if you did not check a certain box, you really did not get the invitation. And that's not just Arena, that's the arts in this area as a whole. And to some degree, that is still very true. I'm a big believer that sometimes you have to leave your home environment to get your experiences. So I went to college away from DC. I did all of my internships, apprenticeships away from DC. So I had to go out to get all my experience. And then once I got all those accolades, I then started seeing, oh wow, okay, cool. Let's let this person pull up to this table and say, how are we gonna help change the narrative of what this area is? That's the condensed version. We could go for 45 minutes.
Are there any more questions?
About your, so I looked in your bio that you worked at Baltimore Center Stage.
Yes.
Did you come to Arena from Baltimore then?
I did.
And was your intro into Baltimore on props or production management?
My intro to Baltimore was on props. I got hired in Baltimore as their props director. I did props all the way through the pandemic when there was a huge transition in staffing in the workforce. And at that moment, I had a real conversation with myself around, I understood that where I was in props was kind of like, this is it. There's nothing else that you can do outside of where you are with props. But because props, the role I was in was a leadership role, I found myself looking for what the next sort of leadership opportunity was. So I went from props at Baltimore Center Stage to production management, and did that for 4 or 5 years, got the experience and was looking for, well, what is next? Oddly enough, the artistic director at Arena Stage hired me as the associate artistic director at Baltimore Center Stage. So I already had that connection. So it was very much like, hey, you're here, I'm here, we have this opportunity. Because we had known each other, we had known our work, it was just a great match for that. Yeah.
Awesome, I have another question.
Mhm.
So, Damn Yankees was awesome. Enjoyed that production. Was
Yes.
that your first show with
That was my first show.
So was there already, I'm wondering if there was a transition, was it already in place and did you come into the production or did you start it from the beginning? And how did that transition if you came into the production?
Yeah,
When it was already started?
I started, the production had not started. There was the expectation that the production would have been further along, but when I came on site, there was a lot that needed to get sorted out to get us to the product that you all saw and loved. So I was very much involved of learning what I needed to learn to help shepherd that process to get us to stage.
Is it going to Broadway?
I can't say yet.
Is that what you do?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it myself. Yeah, great question. Yeah.
Oh, I think we have an understanding of what's involved once the production opens.
Mhm.
Could you give us a sense of what it's like on a daily basis throughout the production?
Wonderful question. That's one of my favorite questions because as a production manager, we can't get excited for a show to open. We get excited for the show to close. I have to be 100% honest that it is, this process we're about to go through with tech is one of my favorite processes because you learn the process. Once you get the show open, that's when it really kicks in because you have to make sure you can tell that story with the same amount of people for every performance.
Yeah.
And that makes my shoulders raise up because my job is to make sure the show must go on. It's like you really don't want to cancel the show for all the people that come to see the work. So that's why I said it's the hardest because you have to find a way to get that story moving. Yeah. Y'all are a quiet bunch. Y'all are real quiet.
I have a question about the people that build the sets. Does Arena Stage have all their own tradespeople? You all build all your own sets on site?
Yes.
And I know every set is extremely different from another. What's a typical time frame to put a set together?
Depending on, so Arena does a number of things. We have a full production staff. It's one of the biggest staff I've supervised in all of my experience, all of my career. But it has to be that big because you have productions on top of productions. So for example, we are in tech for Shea Joey this weekend. Next week we'll have first rehearsal for our next production that will go into tech at the end of February. So everything is just on top of the other. And so some processes might take 4 or 5 weeks to build to get up on their feet. Some might take longer, some might take shorter. It's all depending around what the needs of the design are, what the scope of the show is. But there's always something mentally happening that has 4 or 5 people working on something in the future. Yep. Yes.
Oh, yes. I have so many.
Oh, great.
So, can I ask them both and you can decide which one you
I'm
want
an open book.
to? Okay, so my first question is about little Jeff. So you said you grew up in a family that was military. I remember you telling me your mom was a colonel, is that right? So what was it, what exposure kind of sparked your love for theater? And then as you got older, I think you have an interesting story of doing both sides, being a performer and then behind the scenes. Is there, can you pinpoint, when you look at those two artists, the biggest difference between a performing artist and a production artist?
Yeah, that is a great question. So I'll answer both because those are great questions. In terms of what did it for me at an early age, I grew up in a family that was very much involved in music, very much involved in church, very much involved in choirs. And I lived that life of being in the presence of growing up in the choir, going to some ball or doing some sort of art outlet. But also I had a lot of that interactions through TV. I think in our pre-discussion I gave the context of like, this is like my guilty pleasure. There was a movie in the 90s called Sister Act 2. I don't know who knows it, but I saw it at a very early age, and it was Whoopi Goldberg, Lauryn Hill, and a whole ensemble of young performers. And just watching the movie, it looked like such fun, singing, dancing. It looked very much of like, I could be those people. I'm going to be those people. And I did that all through high school, got to college and died and said, I don't want to be those people. And then went to tech because I have an I'm easy to please, friends. I'm very easy to please. You can pull something out to a coat pocket and I'd be like, that's amazing.
Oh.
Which I think is why I like technical theater. It's like the magic of like, well, how did that happen? Oh, ooh, that's amazing. It really sparked an interest for me doing that. And in terms of, now if I got your second question, I'm on a whole tangent for the first question. Jesus. What was the second question? Oh, yes, the difference of what changed between being a performer to being in the tech side. I think I just had a realization of like, I could continue being an artist, but I very much foresaw I am one of 50 of people that can do the same thing I'm doing, not to shortchange myself, but I felt like I would get more opportunities if I really tapped into tech, and it has been very true. Yep. Great questions, friends. I'm an open book. I got a dog. You can.
So kind of,
Ooh, no, if you were ready.
you can go.
Oh, okay. My question kind of tails off what you had just said. What is it like? What was it like, especially when you were early on and getting into props career and props job? What was it like looking for those jobs, and then was it easy? Feels like not the right word, but was it easy to get hired, or was it a lot of no's before yeses?
It's a combination. This conference that I am on the board for has been a great help in my career. Almost every opportunity I've gotten has come through this conference. And it's a fair amount of no's. I've applied for Disney, Universal, Cirque. All of them were just like, no. I gave a story here last week where I did an internship in California, but again, I grew up not having the means to move to California or having the finances for that. So originally, being from the East Coast, I told them no. I was like, I can't do this. I can't support the move. Oddly enough, the production manager is named Jeff, and he called me after I had told him no. And was like, I really want you to reconsider, and that opened my eyes. I was like, no one has ever done this for me. I really there is something here, and I went with it. I said, let's go. This is rarely that someone's ever going to invite you back to a table after you say no. And since I said yes to that, everything else has been a yes.
I'll ask my question.
Yes, please.
So kind of going back to what you said before about growing up in an artistic household, would you say you kind of were drawn to the arts because your family was, or would you say that kind of a journey of figuring out that you were an artist was natural for you?
I think it was natural for me. I think I've always just been aligned with what it means to be an artist, what it means to be a performer, and I naturally just gravitated to those folks. We had a lot of the same energies, a lot of the same imagination, a lot of the same silliness. So I just felt like I found my people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. So would you, like when you were younger, did you try out any other stuff other than the arts?
Let me see. I tried engineering. Did not last long. I tip my hat to everybody. I dabbled with some amount of like nursing, but I have a very weak stomach, oddly enough. So again, not for me. For all of the, listen, I can't do it. It's not going to be beneficial. I love math, but I really didn't understand what a career in math looked like outside of being a math teacher.
Yeah.
And the classroom was not. I wouldn't actually see it in the classroom. I tip my hat.
So the arts was just always.
It was this. This is it.
Yes. Wow. So what was that like? Because I know you said you started off being a performer, and you said like just started listening to the no's and just going towards something else, like, and you got a lot of more opportunities. But what was that like, just giving up performing?
I mean, it was a reality. I think it got to the point that I found more joy being on the tech side.
Yeah.
Like there is a quirkiness of being a performer. There's a truer quirkiness of being a technician.
Oh, you think?
I greatly, because again, they don't want the spotlight on them. They want it on their work. And as a performer, you are your work. You want the spotlight on you.
Oh, and I love that. Oh, I didn't even tell you this. So my sister, we went to the same school. school,
Okay.
Duke Ellington. She was in the TDP department, so the technical department. And whenever we'd see shows, she'd always like point out something about the lights, because she did stage management.
Okay.
Something about the lights, or something about what's going on, the cue. Oh, they're not missing the cue, just stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So being like the behind the scenes, kind of like that behind the scenes side of theater, would you say you were kind of like the same when you watch shows?
100%. 100%. That's why I can't watch most movies, because I'll be like, that's not real. That's not real.
Oh,
You ain't
no.
done that. There's something behind that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we naturally, but it's like when you see something good, like if I go to any of these theaters around DC, they're doing amazing work, and I'll be like, well, how
They
did
do that.
Who do I need to talk to?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you'd say like kind of being behind the scenes and also having experience being a performer kind of gave you this like, well, how would I word this? Kind of a better understanding of all that it takes to put on a production.
It's like my third eye.
Yes.
It's like I have to foresee what this would be, because again, my job is I'm looking at the bird's eye view for all the departments.
Yeah.
And being in tech, you have to understand the process and how they're all folded together. That's literally how you're going to. A team is going to believe in you when they can understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And you can repeat it back to them. If you can't say that, they'll be like, well, you don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You said the other.
Okay, I know I keep going back to performing my heart performance, so I'm sorry.
Yes.
But would you ever go back to performing?
As long as I didn't die.
No. Yes. No. Wow. No,
Oh, go for it. Go for it.
it was on the tip of my tongue. I gotta retrace my.
Oh, there's another one in the audience. Yes.
So you have 2 theater degrees
Yes.
and an MSW. So
Yes.
tell me how that happened.
Yeah, great. Yeah. So I love helping people, and at the start of the pandemic, when we were all uncertain if we were deemable as essential work, I greatly was interested in understanding what additional things I could do. For those that don't know me, which is most of this room, I grew up in foster care, and I had a great social worker and a therapist who might be in the house right now. I won't say anything. But I had a chance to witness what the system did for me and how it propelled me to get to where I got to. That is one of the most essential work. There are always people that need that help, that need that guidance, that need that support. And I think a production manager is greatly a social worker. It's just the different means. You are listening to your artists, your staff, who the sky could be falling, it could be a fire, but they're looking for you to help give them that guidance, give them that resource so that they feel good and can move forward with all their right judgments, as well as social work. There are a lot of people that need housing, that need resources, that need food, that need therapy, they need someone to talk to. And so I got a lot of that experience, having lived it, but also of like wanting to help people. It's something that I felt like I had the benefit of. Yeah,
I have a question.
please.
So, your motivation to move to the technical side of theater
Mm-hmm.
was growth. So now that you've arrived at kind of like the top, forgive me, I'm not in theater. Has your idea of growth changed as far as it not being about various roles and opportunities? Has it changed? And what does growth look like for you going forward?
Oh, that's amazing. Yes. For me, as my Sagittarius friend can attest, I'm always looking for what's next. And in terms of where I am with production management, again, if at the regional theater in the role I'm in as the production manager, there's not much growth outside of that role. But in terms of upper leadership, there are places, Disney has a vice president of production, Disney Cruise Line hires production managers all the time, the Olympics. So it's like what elevation looks like in terms of how can you take your skills to some of these systems that already exist, like the Disneys, the theme parks, the Hollywood, TV, film, and really try to get into those opportunities. Yeah.
Hi, sorry, I'm all the way back here.
Hi.
You talked about being in a field where you didn't see people who look like you in the past. How did you build those leadership skills to be in those spaces, and what advice would you give to young Black college students now?
Oh, that is a great question. I think my growing up, I grew up in a very educated household and a very hardworking household. And as a black man, you always will have to work. There is the work. The work will always need to be done. I had great mentors, great support systems growing up where very much you have to break down your own door to get your opportunities, and that was a lot of me. Like me going away from DC to the West Coast was me betting on me, and I would recommend everybody really have that real eye-opening conversation of you are your biggest marketer, you are your biggest cheerleader, you are your biggest advocate. Really, really, really advocate for yourself and what you want to do. And then just do it. Like, you really can't just do it. In terms of as an upcoming individual that's in college, I am of the mindset, and I'm now in a role that I'm looking for people who just want to show up. Just show up. If you show up and you're ready to learn and you're eager to help out, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be amazed at how well it's going to be received and how people want that. They want, like a lot of the technical people that I work with, they want people to ask questions about what they're doing. They want to show that. They want to give them those skills. Because again, once someone gives you a skill, it's not something that they can take away. You now have that under your tool belt, and that'll get you where you need to get to. So just show up. Just show up. Come knock on our door. Yeah.
All right, so we have time for a few more questions. Anyone else?
Thanks so much. So looking forward into the future, a year or 5 years, when we look at the technical side, are there any technologies or innovations that you foresee either being things you have to overcome or adapt around, or on the flip side, exciting opportunities?
Yeah. This is another soapbox thing. We are living in the moment where we are seeing the influence of AI, and especially in the technical theater side. That's one way people find ways to save costs. Of like, can I tell the storytelling and it not be disruptive to the art, but can I tell it in a sort of way that elevates the standard of what we're used to and how we're operating? So that's one fold. In terms of technology, machines in this day and age are getting so advanced. I love 3D printing. I have a lot of props folks that don't love 3D printing. It feels like it's replacing the skill that they have, which I disagree, because you need someone to run this machine. But it's a lot of keeping up with the technologies that's going to make things easier and save time and save money as we get later and later on in life.
Anybody else? We have time for maybe 2 more.
All right.
So tell us about your work day. I know rehearsals typically are in the day, shows are at night. How do you balance that? And as a production manager, what's your hours like? What do you have to do?
Yeah, so typically my work day is, I typically am available doing the typical like 8 to 6, 9 to 5 sort of way. Rehearsals are very much happening during that period. Where it gets challenging is where you get to the tech process. That's where everybody understands that is the most intimate time you'll be in that space for a lot of long hours. But again, we all are perfectionists, and we love our craft, we love our work, and we want to put on our best product. So those days could run from 8 to midnight, but it's running from 8 to midnight because you have so much time to get that show right before you have an audience who has a secret love for the show or understanding or relation or connection to the show, and you want them to share in that joy of what that show brings. So it's really an understanding of utilizing the most time we have to do that.
All right, and the last question.
Oh, I had a question over here. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Hi. So you spoke about Arena Stage giving audiences what they want. And as a production manager, like what sort of improvements would you like to see happen within Arena Stage, whether it's through the collaborative process or just the shows they put on? Yeah,
that's a great question. I think there is no perfect system. There's always improvements on systems. And as a production manager, we live by systems. It is like, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to apply something, let it work. Once it works, set it and forget it. But really, you really want to ascertain, can you step back and assess what works, what doesn't work, and then step forward and say, here is, based off of what I'm foreseeing, here is what that change might be. So that could be very much, hey, instead of a standard I would say there was a while ago, anyone heard of the We See You White American Theater document? Where it's very much, this document was, we need to dismantle the process that we all understand of what it means to work in the theater. Changes like that could be, well, we don't need to work till midnight, we can actually work less time. Or for an example, if I'm in a production meeting, I'm always gonna go to my production staff first so that they can get out of there a lot sooner than waiting for the director, the choreographer, the artist, the actor, have all these conversations, because my staff have probably been there since 7 or 8 a.m. that morning, and will probably be back there tomorrow at 7 or 8 a.m. that morning. So it's really finding ways of helping them assess what a work-life balance is, and then prioritizing what improvements need to be made. That's a great question. Okay.
So people are asking you about memories, and so I just had one that talked to me, and they're asking you about your future. And then all of a sudden, I know that you've been on carnivals without family. I don't get to do that. I am working.
Notice you said our family, so you see the relationship.
So therefore, you know about that. I was attending a leadership conference in Vermont with people from Disney.
Okay.
And what I addressed to them, probably in the 90s, is that there was not an opening for people of color. And all of a sudden tonight I'm hearing you flash in Disney probably about 5 times in your conversation. And for my takeaway from the leadership conference, it was not going to be a way for cultural people to get into that mix. You could, as I have a friend who goes 5 times a year there for her visitation, Disney, and I go, oh, okay, you're supporting this effort, but I'm not seeing cultural reflective.
Okay.
How would you knock on the door of Disney, or are those any milestones that you see, or all the doors have always been open to you for Disney?
Not so much open, but Disney is very involved in this conference that I'm on the board on. There's actually one of my good friends, his name is David Stewart, he's a producer with Disney right now. He is knocking on all the doors of getting Disney aligned with, we need to diversify our poor, our population. He's very much on that. He's a producer on Disney Cruise Line right now, but striving of trying to change that narrative. And Disney is very susceptible. I think anyone that's working in entertainment has to understand, like, you have to be susceptible to the times right now. Great question, brother man.
How would you knock on that?
By being on the board, by being in this room. So my job is to help enforce what the room is saying. So by being on the board of directors for this technical theater conference, a lot of what you just said has been said to me when I'm in these closed-door conversations with my other board of directors or my executive director, whose mission is to help dismantle that. We're all just hitting the nail over the head, saying the same narrative.
Well, thank you all so much for all the questions, and Jeff for answering them.
Thank you.
Before we head into the lobby for a brief reception, will you all please scan the QR codes on the back of your program and complete a quick survey just about your experience here tonight? We really appreciate it.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you so much, friends. All right. Any other questions? Good? I think that's it.
One more thing.
Just really quickly, in case any of you walked in before, after I said, introduced myself, I'm Maureen Dwyer. I'm the executive director of Sitar Arts Center. And I want to share 2 things that I neglected to share. The first is this whole series is an initiative of Sitar Arts Center's Volunteer Leadership Council. And several of our Leadership Council members are here tonight, and I would just like to acknowledge them. If you'll raise your hands and let us applaud you. Sitar really operates on volunteers, and also, as we discussed with our mission, it's to remove financial barriers from arts education. So 80% of our students who attend Sitar are living with families who are experiencing challenges with their incomes. And a lot of this is just as you're saying, we want to get that pipeline because every young person deserves the opportunity to become their best selves, to be valued, to discover their gifts and develop their gifts. And there's a lot of systemic barriers to that. And a lot of those barriers are related to income. So all this is to say, we're about to start our spring semester, and in addition to making sure that our classes are affordable, we also provide all of the equipment for our young people, all of the dancewear for our dancers, all of the art supplies for our visual artists, the cameras for our photographers, we have to keep our pianos tuned, and we have a matching gift going on right now. One of our board members is doing a $3,000 matching gift. So if you feel so moved to support our mission tonight, dollar for dollar will be matched, and you'll help us to continue to open our doors to our amazing talent that you saw here tonight. Thank you.